Hi! Hello, it's us, Wakey Wakey. So, today's video is about building a metaphorical bridge between the information about Prussia that we've been giving you for a while and our next field of research, which is a very specific author, and his name is Heinrich von Kleist, major character. Historically, we're now dealing with the second half of the 18th century. The King of Prussia is Frederick II, that weird guy who didn't want to become a King of Prussia because he really wanted to be a philosopher and a musician, at least something artistic. What was Prussia like then?
Well, as you already know, you should remember that.
As good students, you should have paid attention.
Well, Prussia was in a vulnerable strategic position in the heart of Europe. Right. In other words, Prussia represented a political power structured on a militarily based society. Because, as you know, the army in Prussia came first.
Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right.
Yeah, more or less like
really
this.
Discipline and top. Yes.
Yeah, but beside the army, there are some issues that must be considered again if we want to have a more precise idea of what was going on there. Because Prussia remained a very backward country economically and culturally, and some measures had been taken just to overcome the situation, but still the process of recovering from that horrible experience that the 30 Years' War had been was very, very slow. So it took a long time, a very long time, to be able to get going again. And getting over a period like the 30 Years' War required a lot of energy and patience, of course.
It's more than a generation.
You may expect that we are talking about issues like economics, numbers, statistics, and all that kind of stuff. A very technical view, let's call it like that, but we are not, because we are shifting now our focus from that to a new market, the book market.
Books.
Yeah,
we have a bookworm here, a real bookworm.
No, that's the reason we are here. I mean,
right.
books.
Literary ants, books.
Yeah, it was actually a new market, which now opens up new perspectives on a German-speaking territory like Prussia. The book market represented at that time, and still represents, the cultural mood of the period you are living in. And it was at that time changing surprisingly fast.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Because what happened in the 15th century, kid?
They invented the printing press.
And not only that.
Oh, yes. They also invented the small format book, which you could slip into your pocket. They invented the pocket book. Because before then, if you wanted to read a book, you usually stood at a lectern because they were huge and heavy.
The 30 Years' War came finally to an end. Okay, first step. Second step, you must have something to eat regularly and a more or less waterproof roof on your head. Then, the following step is looking for something new to read.
Entertainment.
Yes, of course, sheer entertainment.
My goodness.
Because humans have always needed entertainment, to be entertained, of course, and always will. Okay, after the Bible, after the prayer books, with all due respect, they are not fun.
They are. The Old Testament's full of brilliant stories. I love the Old Testament.
Yes. No. Come on. All right. Okay. Might be, but they are not that fun. They don't entertain, and especially in those years, they tended to remind people of the gloomy times when everything around them was only madness and violence.
Oh, well, there's a lot of madness and violence in the Bible, definitely. Yes,
yeah,
definitely. Yes, you're right.
In spite of the invention of printing, books were still very expensive. So the solution to this problem was libraries. Permanent libraries, which opened everywhere, and then wandering libraries. libraries.
Wandering libraries. I like traveling libraries. Libraries
Yeah.
that come to you. I like that.
And then
I like that idea very much.
And then in addition to that, the cultural industry didn't sit there waiting. It responded to the demand for cheaper books, and so the audience finally had a lot of choice. I mean, this was a wonderful moment for those who wanted to become writers. And well, you know, we love exaggerating, we always do. But now we feel as we were taking part in I don't know, in an epiphany, you know, a very special moment in the history. Yeah, that's true, because finally authors, some of them, very few actually, started earning money through writing.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Oh, always, it should be always like that, but
Yes.
it is not.
It's
But
like painters.
that
Yes.
was, yeah, that was the moment where it began, where it all began.
People were going to have a chance to say what they were thinking.
Yeah.
Put down on paper those wonderful stories they'd been inventing.
Yeah, telling stories, making them, structuring them, and then thinking them out, developing thoughts, and then having the possibility to put them onto paper.
And somebody else could pick up that piece of paper in a book form and read it.
Okay, that was the poetic moment. Now let's go back to the pragmatic aspect, as we always do.
Yes,
you
yes,
know?
about time too.
So, we were having a look at libraries, fixed or wandering, but there is also another phenomenon connected with books, that is the reading salon.
Ah!
Yeah, around
Salon, yes.
yeah, around 1800, especially in Berlin, something interesting was happening. Nobles, representatives of the middle rising class, and then intellectuals, artists, writers, philosophers, whatever, started meeting, and they, in those meeting points, which were apartments, private apartments mostly, well, there they had the possibility to read, to discuss, to enrich each other culturally, and that was amazing.
Wonderful, fantastic.
Yeah, unfortunately, it was only a minority.
Oh.
Yeah, it was about 200 people in Berlin, which was a very a city which was in fashion at that time, because you had a kaleidoscopic theater scene, you had a real exchange between sexes and religious beliefs in those meeting points in the reading salon. So a reading salon were at that time quite a phenomenon in Berlin, and Berlin was the only city in the Prussian kingdom where something like that could take place.
What about Friedrich though? I mean, he was such a rigid disciplinarian. What was his attitude toward the salon?
Well, that's an interesting aspect, because well, the first reading salon was founded in Berlin in 1780 by a woman.
A woman?
Yeah, a wonderful woman who was Henriette Herz, and she was at that time only 16 years old.
Good Lord.
Well, go wonder, I mean.
A swot, an absolute swot at school.
Well, he would die in 1786. He was relatively old, he was often ill, he was often depressed, so he didn't care that much about what was going on around him.
So he didn't try to suppress them, for example.
No.
But I have an idea though, because he did start out wanting to be a philosopher and an artist. So maybe he just let them be, and let them be what he had not been able to be himself.
Well, who knows?
Who knows?
You allow a very small community, I mean 200 people, it's nothing.
They don't represent a national danger, I don't think.
Yeah. So they are free, because there you have freedom of thought, freedom of expression, you have everything you need, but it is only on a very conceptual niveau.
Yes.
And it stops there. I mean, there was no revolution, there was no expression of this exchange outside of the salon.
It was pure entertainment.
Yeah.
And as you said earlier on, cultural enrichment. So how long did these salons continue?
These reading circles were a very expensive passing time. So they didn't last that long. When Napoleon arrived in Prussia, conquered Prussia, won over Prussia in 1806, the reading salon were already all shut down because of economical reasons. So this is the background you should keep in mind, because from this point on we will talk about Heinrich von Kleist in detail. So see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.